Let's get it on stream. What do you think, Stranger? Swole just saw it in your gen chat. He's gonna be like, it's dog shit. It's a little like a demon thing. I don't know. I'm just messing around with it. It's Blender.
It's like a grinder for artists.
What's that even mean?
Mike muted that whole time, so we're gonna redo that. Hey, what a flippity flop though! This is Stranger or Big Moose. This is Faultarian Journal number 8, guys. And this is the final act for the journal for the week. Thank you guys for the support. And I just did all this without my mic on, so I'm gonna keep it a bit shorter this time. So Reverb, Suckcap, and Chandler are Gotta Get Swole. Please introduce yourselves.
What up, Suckcap?
And it's Sockcap Son Reverb.
Yeah,
and the swole boy.
Yeah, me again.
I'm gonna be honest, guys. If anyone knows what Mike TV, the tester, that man is buff, and
he's buff.
Chandler might be buffer.
Oh shit! Maybe Mike and Chandler have to duke it out, dude. I'm pretty sure we said it the other day. Pretty sure that Mike could like stand on your chest and grab your head and pull it off your body if he wanted to. So, pretty strong boy.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
So for anyone that doesn't know who Reverb and Sockcap are, they are our special guests for today. Shout out to them. Go follow them on Twitch. Go follow them on Twitter. Send them lots of love. They are testers for Strange Matter Studios and Fault. Reverb is now known as the poster boy for Fault, as some of the people put it. And Sockcap is just the man, the myth, the legend himself.
Thank you. The poster boy with the Ask Me Anything on Reddit, the most amazing Reddit thread I've seen.
What can I say?
Wait. I mean, you can mention it, but I'm not gonna because we are streaming. If you want to mention it,
I do want to mention it.
All right, guys, we're going off a little bit of tangent. We're gonna have a bit of a story time about Reverb there now.
Oh, I'm just gonna say the first comment there on that thread was, "Who the fuck are you?" Something like that. Should I care? Question mark. Shit was funny.
Reverb, do you want me to tell this story?
Go for it, dude.
All right, guys. So
bunch of simps on Reddit.
So for anyone that doesn't know who Reverb is, because most people don't. No offense to him. No offense to him. But he went on his first post ever on Reddit, on the Paragon subreddit, was, "I'm the number one ADC or something in Fault. So if you have any questions, please come to me and ask me." And he got the most hate I've ever seen out of anyone ever on that Reddit.
maybe not as much as the Cheeto, but yeah, you did get a good bit there. So
yeah,
it's definitely entertaining though, for sure.
It's
a publicity stunt.
Reverb meant it with kind-heartedness, but it ended up being a mega troll very fast.
You're gonna be like the Leffen of the Fault community, dude. And just have that villain going on.
That's cool with me, dude.
So
yeah. So to get back on track, guys. So Act 1, we just had a little introduction of who Sockcap and Reverb are and a few of their goals. We never got to the extra topic, unfortunately, but they're only there if we need more stuff to talk about. Act 2, we talked a bit more of death, and we transitioned into what is our third topic topic. Sorry, guys, I keep burping now. I must have drank my water too fast. Which is roles. So we want to talk about roles. And specifically what the point of this Act 3 is Sock African Reverb are pretty good players. And I highly suggest that you listen to what they have to say and truly consider it when it comes to Fault. And so we just wanted to talk about that. Try to see if you can give you any tips and tricks, or if there's anything you guys would like to specifically talk about, just mention it in the chat there, and of course we'll bring it up. So first things first, roles. So if I'm not wrong, Reverb, you like to main ADC.
Yeah, you could say that.
So
he's a Murdoch one trick, dude.
That's false, but
so what is it? What is it for you? Why do you choose ADC over the other 4 roles?
Well, 2 reasons. First off, it's fun to kill people.
Mm-hmm.
And reason number 2 is a lot of times I don't trust other people to carry the game, so I put my fate in my own hands.
Okay, and Sockcap. In my notes, I actually don't have support written down. I actually have Richter. Why do you like Richter?
He's just a lot of fun. I always like hook-based champions or champions that have like displacements, because I feel like you can do a lot with those types of kits. So it's just kind of interesting. And it just, when I started playing him, I was like, oh shit, this skill shot's like pretty difficult to hit. So, I wanted to get good at it, and I wanted to pull off some crazy plays. So that's kind of what made Richter fun for me, because it felt really rewarding when you hook somebody. And sorry, somebody did just follow me from your stream. So Snag OG, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it, man. I'm just gonna let you know that I'm not streaming or anything, but he just sent me a follow.
I just said buys. Oh my gosh, the Newfoundlander in me just came out, guys. Please go follow Sockcap and Reverb at twitch.tv/reverbop and twitch.tv/Sockcap, just the way his name is spelled. So you like Richter. One thing I remember, I actually was a support main for a little bit. I tried ADC, was completely garbage. I actually got pretty good with Sparrow, but anyone else I was pretty garbage with. And I did a bit of off lane. I actually was pretty good at off lane, not gonna lie. But then I moved into support, because I love being the unsung hero personally. That's just like, that just to me is so rewarding. And so I started playing Richter. So I remember I actually started playing Richter after I got... Thank you for the follow, Snag. I really appreciate it. I started playing Richter after I got bored with Narbash. And I had 50 days of in-time gameplay played with Narbash. So I was... I played a lot of Narbash. And...
it's your boy.
Yeah. I actually had more days played as Decker, just to say how much I played the game. Anywho, so I started playing Richter, and I remember my favorite moment with Richter was I went for this gank under 5 minutes. So there was a Gideon in my mid lane, and I told him in the chat, start throwing your abilities at him. And he was like, why? And I'm like, just do it, because we're getting this kill. And so he's like, okay, I'm gonna risk it for the biscuit. Who needs mana anyways? And he did it, and the guy ended up using... He was Bellica, I think. And he went onto his tower, and I hooked him off his tower, and I immediately got him, and I stunned him, or silenced him, sorry, and we immediately got the kill. And that was the moment I knew that I fell in love with Richter, because Richter's the kind of character that when you hit that super nasty chain, you feel like a god among men. You feel like you rule Agora.
Yeah, definitely. For sure, it's good. Good Richter's stood out for sure. So I remember, not to like weird flex or anything, but that's all I played in like Legacy was Richter. And we got to the MMR cap, right, and at that point we started to kind of like get recognition. Or ended up playing against Myth, and he was playing Murdoch, and my buddy was playing Murdoch, and then he had a Richter on his team as a support, and we ended up dumpstering them like 3 games in a row. But the fourth game is like one of the guys that was in the one of the previous games with us, and he was in the lobby with us, and he was trying to play support, and then he looked in the lobby and saw who was in there, the names, and he said, "Oh, my B sock cap and Lax Skull." He said, "I'll let you guys take duo lane." And so that was kind of cool. I was like, "Oh shit!" Like we didn't ask him or anything. He just like kind of yielded it over because he was like impressed with how we were playing. So
Awesome.
that type of stuff is fun.
And I just have it up there now, so I just wanted to bring it on over. This is just a little clip.
Either the whip and die.
Easy claps, indeed. Easy claps left and right. Like this guy, easy clap.
An enemy has been slain.
This guy, hard, dude.
The 2-shot,
Enemy
dude.
has been slain.
What a fucking monkey.
An enemy has been slain.
Let's see the old Jacka.
Easy
Enemy
clap.
has been slain.
I'm not a league player, dude.
I see that.
Give me the penta.
An enemy
Easy
has
clap,
been
penta
slain.
kill. That one's for you, Dusty.
The pinner.
Yeah, so I just wanted to show that right quick. So
Well, let me ask
Reflex.
you. Let me ask you, Reaver. Like, as a ADC player, like, what do you think is the like paramount or most important things to like learn or do in Fault playing ADC?
Farming. And not dying.
Anything else besides that, like positioning or?
You just like want to be as far as you can while still being useful. Like remember that you have like the range advantage, and you'll probably get dumpstered by like a tank if they are up on you. So like just kiting in a fight and like trying to stay alive so you can pump out as much damage. You can't do damage when you're dead.
What about like laning phase? What do you think are like important things?
So like, I mean, fundamentally like farming, but that's like a very like complicated topic. So like, trying to like farm efficiently, freeze the wave in front of your towers, so you can set your lane up for ganks. I mean, taking trades that are favorable. If you know your character power spikes at like a certain level, or your lane is strong at a certain level that your other laner's not, like the person you're laning against, you can go for like a fight and just general stuff like that. Stay alive, do damage, get gold. Like it's
yeah, and that I'm glad you guys brought that up, because the first thing we're gonna talk about is what are like the basic fundamentals for each role. So I wanted to start with support and ADC. So Reaver, you're saying that the fundamentals that you need to get down to be a strong ADC is you need to be good at farming, you need to be good at hitting your shots, of course. Anything else, or is that really it?
I mean, it's like that comes down to like you can say it like that, but it's like a lot more complicated than that, because like you are the primary target, like 24/7. Like everyone wants to kill you, right?
Yeah, it's true.
So like just trying to like put yourself in advantageous situations and exploit whenever people put themselves in like a disadvantaged state.
So I'd say that there's like, I don't, obviously you'd have to like push the wave to do this, but another thing to keep in mind, well, I'm sorry, you don't necessarily have to push the wave to do this, but just a general thing to like keep in mind or keep track of is like, not only do you kind of want to be keeping track of like your minions or the enemy minions health bars, you also kind of want to keep track of yours, right? Because it's the same concept in League, and Reverb was talking about this the other day. when he was talking to you, stranger, about League, is that it's the same situation applies in this game. If you know that they're going for CS, if they're going for a last hit, well, they're going to be autoing that creep that can't auto you, right? So that's a perfect time to like kind of step forward and just ping them once, if you're trying to get damage on them, because they're not going to be able to, ping you back, basically. So
Yeah.
that would be something that I would like keep in mind as a carry player.
Yeah. And what we were saying too about how it gets more complicated than obviously just hitting your farm stuff and hitting your shots is it gets so complicated because it can be how to push your lane, would take the when you should, I don't know, do that weird ADC support gank on the jungler that Sockap argued with Dusty about for hours and faded about for hours. And
I think Dusty's probably all for that because Dusty just likes to invade nonstop. Faded's
Yeah.
the one that was.
I mean, essentially, like carries are like they kind of turn on like mid or late game. Like you're pretty weak early, but like you just want to keep yourself, like you want to get out of your weak phase as early as possible. So like however you got to do that safely is like the faster you can get out of early game, the better. But like it's really good to have a good early game as carry. Like
Right.
you essentially just kind of win the game if you like get fed early on carry because you just like get so ahead.
Right. That's one thing that I was gonna say is that like we were saying, you are like weaker early in general, but you have to keep in mind too that like you're also playing against a carry, right? So if you get ahead in your lane, and this goes for like any lanes, right? But you like I used to see like a lot of kind of ADCs in Paragon that were like pretty hesitant or had cold feet about like going in, even if you like got ahead in lane or like killed them once beforehand. Like, you're basically going against another carry and support, right? You have to be kind of cognizant of what those characters do, but damage wise, if you're ahead, you're going to output more damage as a carry, more than likely. So it's one of those things where like you shouldn't be like hesitant in your lane. You might be like weaker against like their jungle or another like tanky character that probably could 1v1 you early, but in your lane, you're probably just going to hard win the 2v2. So like don't be scared to like commit to these things, you know what I mean? So going back and buying at the right time is also like I would say pretty essential for a carry. If you get a kill early and you're able to push the wave in the tower, go back and buy and then come back to lane quickly, that way you don't miss any CS. That's also like pretty important, but that's just kind of more along the lines of like wave management.
So, okay. So if we had to put it into like if this was like a tutorial video, you'd be like, step 1, hit your farm. Obviously it gets more in depth to that. Step 2, hit your shots. Step 3, take advantage.
Honestly, like hitting your shots just like it's gonna happen. Like it's more than hitting your shots is like knowing who to hit.
Yeah.
Right.
So
yeah, who to focus.
I don't know like how in depth you want to go in this, but like,
we'll go more in depth if the time allows us as we keep going.
Okay, that's what to say. Yeah.
So what about support there, Sockap? What do you think, as let's say I'm a brand new support, never played support before, what do I need to know to get a good start, to get off and running?
You don't have to worry about, buy Scrying Stone, hit I and buy Scrying Stone in your shop. For God's sakes, please do that. Because that's like the only way that you're going to get gold, right?
Yeah, so
Scrying
also
Stone gives you wards as well.
Yeah, Scrying Stone it's a ward, and it's also an item, and it gives you passive gold for each minion that your closest ally kills. So when you're pairing up with your ADC, you'll get gold just for them getting the minion kill. So Scrying Stone's a must.
Yeah. Obviously, like warding as a sport, you want to probably like pay close attention. Like if I honestly, if I'm gonna try to improve as a support, I'm probably gonna watch like really good junglers, and see like when they rotate, all that stuff. Like when they kind of get to the point where they're gonna go gank. So being like cognizant of that, like what time marker are most junglers gonna possibly go for like a rotation and do a lane? Where are we positioned and do a lane? Do we need to back up a little bit just to avoid being killed? That's important. Obviously, like warding is important as well. Um, I would say like playing support with Reverb is like fairly easy because like I've played with him a good amount and I know his play style, and I know that if I, for the most part, if I land or if I initiate, he's gonna go in and commit fully. So, and I have enough faith in him to be able to, do enough damage, land enough basics to, be able to burn down whatever target we're going on. So like knowing who to focus, um, knowing when to go in. Obviously, like cooldowns are important as a support. If you see that the other support is use their CC, that should be a green light to just go ham. For the most part, unless they're like really far ahead. So, keeping track of CCs and stuff like that. Making sure that anytime you have a chance to kill, you commit to it. So that type of stuff is just that's just kind of important just in general, right? It's not necessarily like support like oriented, but it's definitely important as a support. You're not actively like CSing, so you should have like more time to like pay attention to the map.
Yeah.
Pay attention to like enemy levels, what items they have, what cooldowns they have, all that stuff. So
In my opinion, if I was a newer support, and I also haven't played in a while, but the fundamentals for me is you gotta be very good at warding and de-warding. You have to be good at shot calling, even if you're not the shot caller. Because as Sock just said, you're not the one that has to worry about CSing, so you have more time to worry about where their enemy jungler is, where your jungle is. If they just use an ability, so you can go get the initiate and all that stuff. So you would make the call, not necessarily, of course, but you would make the call to initiate or to back off or so on and so forth. And I think
K-Trucks.
Yeah, I also think more so than anything, supports need to be really good at knowing when to use their abilities. And what I mean by that is, like, in this gameplay, you could see at one point there, like, I had enough mana to throw one thunk, and that was it. But we just got ganked by 2 people. So it was a 4v2. So, and now, I'm not saying I had the best gameplay, guys. I haven't played in 2 years. This was one weekend, so it obviously isn't that great. But one thing I was thinking in that moment, and I can tell you this for certain, is I had one thunk, and that's all I could do. And my carry was about to die, so I needed to do something. So what I tried to do is, it ended up not working, but I saw that their carry accidentally took one step too far onto our tower, so he wasn't going to get hit because he would have time to move off. But I was trying to thunk him because he's the one doing the main damage, to where the second he got on the tower, he was going to die from the tower shots, and we were actually going to get a kill, and I was going to save my carry in the process. It didn't end up working like that because my timing was a bit off, but that's what I tried to do. And you can see this. It was just a few minutes ago I tried to do this. Oh, it's going to load. That was a waste. Technical difficulties.
What's up, Meeks?
Big
So
Utah boy.
So yeah, those things are important for sure. This is support.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about the next role? So if we go fundamentals of an offlaner, well, what would that be?
Offlane is a kind of unique role where it's like, obviously it's a 5v5 team game, but you're kind of on your own island for a little bit. Typically, you're gonna see less ganks in the offlane. It's kind of like a war of attrition. Who can kind of outlast and farm more efficiently while going for like kills still.
Yeah.
Like offlaners are typically gonna be tanks, but obviously you could run other like characters and other builds, but you're gonna do a lot of like dictating the map from like a macro sense because like when your team could be fighting like 3v3 or 4v4 in mid, if you're split pushing and like taking towers, you're just gonna win the game for your team. And yeah, like me said, like split pushing, farming, rotating, like the farther you can get ahead and like just come up when you do kind of team fight and just start rolling people, it's kind of the goal is offlane. You just don't want to feed. It's the main goal. Like just if you're losing lane, just try to like chill out. A lot of the champs that do play offlane are just inherently kind of strong, and they don't need that much gold to function like well. Like a carries just by nature need like, and mages just need like gold and items to like come online. But a lot of tanks and supports just have like good kits. So like even if you're behind, like it's better to kind of like keep your enemies from getting bigger.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I would agree with you too. Especially when I saw what you're doing, sir, I was spending a lot of time trying to fix this video because my internet kind of shat the bed the second I tried to rewind it. But anyway, I got it working. And when you said that offlane is unique because it's like what you do in that lane really, really depends more on what character you're playing and what character you're going up against, because it may not be tank versus tank.
So it's a hardcore like 1v1 like matchup.
Yeah, it is.
And you could AFK farm and like be passive, or like if you know you have an advantage, or you know like you're better than who you're landing against. Like if you can just slowly take good trades, like you'll be able to all in them. And usually it only takes like one good gank or like one good outplay to like really dictate offlane.
Something that's like pretty important to keep track of. And once again, this is just like general laning stuff, but it's like I think pretty important in the 1v1 lanes, so mid and off lane especially, is like knowing how many minions it takes you to get to level 2 or level 3, depending on what your power spike is for your champ, because this is one of those things where you can maybe, if you take a few favorable trades, you know, a lot of the champs in offlane are inherently like tanky, or have some sort of like sustainability. So that's one of those situations where it's like, okay, well, if I can take a few favorable trades like level 1 or level 2, and I know that I'm gonna hit like level 3 before him, then you can just go for the all-in and burn him down. You're probably, I would say, in the offlane, not going to be able to just like straight up all-in somebody and burn them down from like 100 to 0 like you would in the duo lane. That's more of just a duo lane thing and a mid lane thing. So offlane is kind of one of those things where you have to kind of whittle them down and then go for an all-in as soon as you get to a certain HP threshold where you think you're going to be able to kill them.
Yeah. No, 100%. And what do you guys think? Let's move in to the jungle now. We'll leave mid for last. So what do you guys think about jungle? Like, what are the fundamentals that you need to be able to do as a jungler? If you're brand new at jungling, what would you guys recommend?
You want me to do this, or you want to do this?
Yeah, I mean, you play jungle more than me, so...
I mean, jungle's like a unique role. Jungling is pretty easy in Fault. Just because like how the items and the champions are, but you just want to, your first clear is super important. What I mean by clear is like your first like time killing your like jungle camps is really important, doing it as efficiently and fast as possible so you can get online. And then you kind of start dictating the map. So if you're trying to power farm and play like the map's kind of quiet and not much is going on, you can kind of keep your head down, power farm the jungle, and come out up top. Inherently, you're going to get more XP and farm in the jungle if you're like clearing stuff on cooldown. But you want to like help out your losing lanes, or you want to help your lanes win and keep your losing lanes from like really losing hard. just by keeping like the enemies in check. But the biggest thing is like just clear your buffs essentially on cooldown. How the jungle works currently right now is two minions spawn, and I think every 45 seconds an extra minion spawns.
Yeah.
So try to never let your minions be 5 camps for too long, because first off, if someone walks into your jungle and sees a juicy ass 5 camp, like that's so much gold you're giving them, and that's not what you want. But also, like, if a camp has 5 minions and you wait like another minute, that it's not like 6 minions are going to come. You just essentially lost out on more farm. You know what I mean? So stuff like that. For like other than just map control, the other biggest thing about jungling is objectives. So you have it's called afflictions. So like Stormquiver and Mana Muzzle and Fault, and it's a big burst of damage you can use to take objectives. So let's say your team's taking Orb Prime. You can hit Orb Prime for like 1,000 health and like kill it so it can't be stolen. So just smiting for objectives. People are gonna say smiting. It's just what it's gonna be called. That's that like affliction items. So just smiting objectives and being there to kind of set the tempo across the map.
Mm-hmm. Sock, do you got anything to add to that, to the jungling?
No, that's pretty good. Obviously, learning timers and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Of your camps, like we said. The thing I think that's important too is you have to like realize that the longer you wait for a camp to be taken, or when we're talking about like red or blue buff, is essentially the same thing that Reaver was talking. That's econ loss, right? Because you take a camp, it goes on a timer, respawn timer. It's up in whatever 5 minutes or whatever it is. I don't know necessarily, but that's just one of those things. It's pretty important. You know, the faster you clear those things, the more often you're going to be able to get them on your side, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So knowing obviously if you're going for like invades, like if you're let's say you're invading on the weak side, and that would be in this instance you're on the side of the map where it's mid and the off laner and they're both getting their shit pushed in. You might not necessarily want to go for an invade at that point in time unless you have vision on their jungler, because if you go in there and it's warded, then their laners can rotate, their jungler can rotate, and your laners are going to be missing out on farm and exp. So those keeping those things in mind, because if you do something like that and your laners rotate and then you die and your laners have to rotate back to lane and they've missed farm, well, then you've not only cucked yourself, but you've cucked your laners too. So you don't want to do things like that. You know what I mean? In that sense.
Okay. And Meeks, when you say power farmer, that would be like this is the best example I would have because I'm just reading the chat there. That would be like if Sevarog's jungling, he's probably going to spend a little bit more time farming than going for a level 2 gank.
I mean, not necessarily. Seth clears pretty slow, actually, and he's like pretty weak early. So like he'll be like in the jungle for like different reasons than somebody like in the game. There's not too many like good power junglers, but like Chimera, I guess, would be a good example. Kind of, you should take camps pretty fast. But like once somebody like Crux gets into the game where you can like use your abilities to do a lot of damage, like power farm, like Fang Mao probably be like a power farmer, stuff like that. But there's definitely like different tempos that are set based on how fast you can clear. Because like whenever I play Countess jungle, I guess Countess would be like a power farmer.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like maybe like, early she's not, but towards like mid game and late
well,
game, she definitely.
Even early game, she's the fastest clear for sure. Countess does, but like whenever I play Countess jungle, like I'm able to kind of catch people off guard by like how fast I'll be like coming out of jungler with red and blue buff, like ready to scrap. So
I just wanted to take this moment because I did get sent a little small little clip. I think it's a really good clip, but I haven't looked at it yet. And we were given. I had to ask him before we're gonna do this. We are allowed to critique this clip, so we're about to have a Coach Sock and Coach Reverb
Oh,
coming in
baby.
strong for one
Coach
clip.
Verb's back.
And try not to be too toxic, but don't.
For sure. I had, during the holiday access, I had Coach Verb mode, dude. Where they
So this is the
take
clip.
clips.
This is the clip. Just a small clip. You can really compare it. Wait, who are we watching?
I'm guessing we're watching K-Trucks and Richter.
Yeah.
Can you turn the quality up at all or no?
Well, let's see. Now that's as high as it goes.
Yeah, it is really loud.
Oh yeah, that's that sweet,
then-
sweet hook.
Nice pool. Countess, stuff gold.
This looks like more of a flex than a coaching, but
That's right.
Definitely,
That's right.
definitely looks like a
that was
flex.
a flex. Yeah, I didn't know what to expect, but.
All right, wait. All right. Hold up. Hey, let me pull one of these up real quick.
Okay.
If I can find my clips here. Hold up. Twitch has like changed their thing, so clips are a little bit more difficult to find. What the heck?
That's all right. K-Trox. We still got the clip up. No, that was nice. That was a nice pull, for sure. You saved your teammate. Sock, are you just getting ready to send something, or did you already send it?
Yeah, I'm looking for it right now.
Okay.
Hold on, let's see. Yeah, I mean you can keep going with what you're saying.
Okay. While Sock's doing this, we'll move on to the last role that we haven't talked about yet is the mid lane. So, we're hypothetically, this is your first time jumping in the mid lane. What are the fundamentals that you need to know to be a mid laner?
So I mean, I would say that possibly like right now the mid lane, like all the laners are like kind of fairly different from one another. So I think the matchups are like played. I don't know. Mid to me seems like the matchups are played like a lot differently depending on who you're playing against. So at least for the time being, just be conscious of that. Anybody kind of, it doesn't necessarily have to be a caster, but generally like people with high wave clear will go mid, right? Because you have pretty good opportunity to rotate. So like being conscious of like if somebody like tries to like pull like a steel mid or a greystone mid on you in the early access when that comes out, because those characters can kind of screw over some mid laners if you're not like playing safe. So I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things that just comes down to like basic laning, like fundamentals in mid lane. I think is you output more damage, so you have more of an ability to all in somebody. So if you see somebody use like a key ability, like for example, if Belka uses her stun and she misses you, you should have free range, right? Because
yeah, that was a sick Narbash ult.
she's probably not gonna be able to
Was that the
hit her
one
bomb.
where I wasn't looking at the gameplay? Sorry. Was that the one where I was in the in the prime pit and I accidentally hit the Q button?
Yeah.
Yeah. It happened. It did happen. Anywho, Sorry, Sock, I cut you off.
Oh no, you're fine. Yeah, it's just one of those things where like, uh, if you see them use like a key ability, like I said, like Bellica, she uses her stun, right? She misses you.
Yeah.
Well, probably not going to be able to hit her bomb on you now because that thing's like pretty easy to avoid, right? And it's kind of hard for a Bellica to hit that stuff um, without her stun. So you're probably going to be able to like hard win that. You know, she's like pretty dependent on that stun. Um, Same thing with Countess, like her Q's like pretty different than a lot of other characters. So like if you know if you're mid laner and your jungler comes in for a gank and she like Q's the wave, you might want to like stay next to her shadow if you know that she's gonna like warp back, right? You don't just like mindlessly chase her in those scenarios.
I mean,
So-
Callus has like the potential to, like outplay like almost every situation. She's like kind of big brain.
So yeah, here's the clip that I was gonna send you. I
got it?
found it. Yeah. Same thing with like Gideon. If you see him like uses like TP to go in, and he like whips his stuff, well now he doesn't have an escape. So, like, you should probably try to do some damage to him. So.
Okay, this is Sockcap's clip.
Fuck me.
Oh yeah, he's
That
just
is a-
flexing. I've seen this clip.
This is a godlike
Tower's
hook.
got big hitbox, yeah.
Oh my god, dude! Yes, mine, dude!
Godlike hook, dude.
That was good. That was good. Hang on.
So K-Trucks used to watch my stream back in the day when I played Paragon all the time. He's always in there. Pretty sure K-Trucks is like one of my first mods in my channel, but he's always sharing some Richter clips between each other. It's always fun. So the other thing too with mid lane is I also wouldn't be scared to experiment with mid lane because probably have like a lot more versatility in mid lane than you do in the other lanes of like it's not so solidified. So like somebody like Steel could be a good pick in mid lane depending on who you're going against because he passively gets magic resistance every time he hits a CC, right? So stuff like that might be good.
I think when it comes to mid lane, in my opinion, like the basic fundamentals, if you're a new player, what you would what I would love. What I think you should do? Sorry, guys, I got sidetracked. I was looking at my own gameplay. What I think you should do as a mid laner is you got to get really good at poking, whether that be in team fights or against just the enemy mid laner. Farming, obviously, but that's kind of beside the point. You have to know when you are capable of rotating. Because a mid laner is the first one that can usually be there, except that the jungle is obviously right there beside him. So you are usually the second man into a fight, and the mid laner is essentially like a second carry for the team, right? They're usually the ones that do the magic damage. That's not necessarily the case all the times, but that's like the majority of times, right?
Yeah, I mean mages are like your primary source of like ability damage and energy damage.
They are the ones that you need to know when you're capable of rotating, and you need to be good at poking. That's like my big mid lane stuff that I think.
Yeah. The other thing too is that like if like mages tend to do like a lot of damage like early on, they would kind of be like unless your ADC is like super fed or whatever, like your mid laner, at least in Paragon and so far in Fault, seems like your mid laner is like a good source of like early damage, right? Like probably what can kind of carry you through early game, whereas they will probably fall off for the most point. Some of them won't late game, but your carry kind of takes over late game. So a lot of like the early game fights definitely get determined by a good mid laner, where in-game fights will get determined by more so a good carry and a good like tank for initiating or support for peeling for the carry. The fights tend to go a little bit better that way.
Yeah.
Well, they were talking about like poke. Like you need to know when to like poke, but like more importantly than when to like go for trades as a mage is like when to kind of all in team fights.
Okay.
Like with Belko, you can't really all in, but like with most casters and like currently Gideon, Konis, like your all in potential is where you really like can swing a fight just by like actually blowing someone up.
Yeah.
But
And that will happen. Some characters like Countess, always bring up Countess, they can just facepalm their keyboard and you can die. Like that's it. You're gonna get deleted.
Oh, even Gideon and this, like, I will say that once again, like, Fault is not so much like Paragon was, where like you can kind of carry in your respective roles if you're good enough, and you can actually have like more of an impact as a solo player on your game than you could as Paragon, I feel like. So like even characters like Gideon, like if you get ahead as Gideon like early, it makes the game like pretty rough for any of the squishies, because you're just gonna hit them with a rock and they're gonna be like, oh my god, half my HP's gone, you know what I mean? So it can get pretty brutal if they have like a Fed Countess or Gideon.
with Gideon's new passive, like if he's ahead, he can actually like one rotation you. Like Q, if he hits like Q right click, you can actually just die. Like,
100%. So I just wanted to ask you guys one question. This is kind of off topic there. As two people that are trying to be very good at the game, what are you two doing individually to make sure that you stay on top of your mechanics and MOBA knowledge as a tester, as a streamer, as just a player for Fault?
I mean, right now we like very close to like EA stuff, so like we can't really like play the game like every day, you know. So
It makes us
like,
play League. That helps for sure.
yeah, play League. But, like just, I mean, PC mechanics overall are pretty like useful. Like, just having good movement and like good aim, but also just like MOBA knowledge at the end of the day. Like you can be a pretty like poor mechanical player, like you can and do well.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm a very good mechanical player, but like I tend to always do like somewhat okay in games, and that's just because of just MOBA knowledge.
MOBA knowledge is everything, man. It really is. It's the majority of things, I should suppose. And was there anything I didn't ask you guys that you wish I did ask you during this stream?
I don't think so. I think we like pretty much covered everything. Patrox asks, can good mechanics compensate for some knowledge? Yeah, for sure.
They can.
If you're a
It's also
mechanic,
it's role dependent. Like if you're like a nuts mid laner and just like when you're 1v1 every time and just get ahead, like you don't have to like know what you're doing necessarily. You just kind of kill people.
Yeah, that'll carry you to like a certain extent, but then you'll get to the point where you're playing.
Everyone's good.
Yeah, everybody's playing at the same level that you are, and then it's gonna be dependent on like the higher concepts, I guess, of playing. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, when the game comes out in EA, definitely want, as a support player, want to be like more conscious of like important cooldowns, timers, all that stuff.
Well, like just from like watching like your VOD, like that you're playing in the background, like there's so many mechanical things that like obviously can go wrong, but like just like whenever they're on a tower shooting at your like tower, like you could have hopped in front of that like Murdoch at any point and had him like take tower aggro. You know what I mean? Like just stuff like that. There's little things like that like you'll just slowly. It's not necessarily hard to do. You just have to like develop it into your game.
Yeah.
Like you just have to make it like a part of your routine.
Yeah. Yeah, I missed. This isn't the highest quality gameplay. Let's say that.
It's okay. I'm not like saying that just because it's. I'm only saying because it's right in front of me.
Oh yeah,
Just like
100%.
knowing when to like hold stuns. Like if you know like a Gideon's very like YOLO in, like you can hold a stun and make sure you're like speeding in and out for your carry.
Yeah, for sure. So
I don't know what I said. And I just wanted to do one last thing, if you guys don't mind, because we got about 10 minutes left till we hit the 3-hour mark there. I just wanted to go over a very quick tier list of what you guys think are the best characters going into EA
Steel.
at this moment.
Well, let's talk through his because mine's probably gonna be way different.
I think Steel's number 1 right now.
So you think Steel's number 1?
Yeah, I think that. All right, yeah. Let's look at the tier list. I think Steel's number 1. I think that. Yeah, would you want to like based off of roles? It'd be easier just to do it based off of roles.
If you want to do it off rolls, let's do it.
Yeah, I'd say Steel, Narbash, Muriel right now. ADCs, I would say TB over Murdoch currently. Mid laners, I'd say, in my opinion, Gideon, Countess Bellica. In terms of like fighters or junglers, I'd say. Shoot, I don't know too much. Maybe. Greystone. I don't know. It's kind of hard. Like Sevarog is like really good late, so I mean I think he's like potential there. But maybe like Greystone, Sev, Chimera, Quang, Boris.
My goodness, we have a lot of junglers or fighters.
Yeah, that's how I'd put it right now.
That's a scuff tier list, bro.
Okay, what do you
Whatever.
think? What do you think?
Your tier list is scuff. Let's hear it.
So like, I think I'm gonna go like from top down, like forgetting about like roles because like obviously in a 1v1 like Steels Sevarog can probably just like walk up and kill anyone, but like subjectively comparing them to like their roles, I think is Also, we don't know what Sparrow, but I'm pretty sure Sparrow would be the best character in the game. Not even close. Like,
she seems crazy,
but,
dude. You literally hit 2 autos and you do more damage than both the ADCs do. By
yeah,
whack ton.
okay, so I think it goes Steel, Twin Blast, Sevarog, Bellica, Narbash, Greystone, Gideon, Countess, Kwang, Muriel, Chimera, Boris.
You guys still think Boris is at the bottom?
Yeah, he's pretty dog shit.
Yeah. He's not quite. You kind of have to like build him as like an assassin to do anything.
He'll be a good like stat stick champion, just like that has a bunch of like strong stats. He just needs some like general buffs across the board. He's not far.
See, if I was to do my tier list off of the tester streams I've seen, the little new passives, and the gameplay I saw, I would say Steel's number 1. Then I would say Sevarog. And then I would say Sparrow, Twin Blast, Greystone, Gideon, Bellica. Wait, did I say Narbash already? Narbash, Chimera, Quag, Muriel, Boris.
Dude, my chick Countess dirty. Didn't even rate her, bro.
She's not even on the list,
okay,
dude.
okay, hang on. Steel.
Well, you don't have to do the whole thing, but I think Countess is really strong in the jungle.
Countess is probably above Kwong, but lower than Sif, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's a very wide range, but sure, yeah.
Yeah, so, but I definitely like think that
The game's pretty like balanced, honestly. Like
Yeah.
like there's some like outliers, but I don't think it's that like nuts.
we'll see when Sparrow comes out. Like,
And that's
what,
the thing. Like, there's always gonna be a bad character, like a low tier character. Like, it's never not gonna happen. You know what I mean? Just so it happens it's Boris.
Well, yeah, we'll see what with Sparrow. She probably, I would imagine, has pretty good like level 1, level 2 potential just with her passive, because you're just going to be doing like consecutively more damage level 1 with your autos, and if you take something like piercing shot, like, I don't know what's the damage on piercing shot level 1 if you go to more info on Sparrow.
It is 75 base and then 75% scaling.
Yeah, so
you'd hit for like 80.
yeah. So, I mean, that's essentially like a little bit more than a regular auto. I feel like if you're support, like if you're playing with a Narbash, for example, if they just walk up level 1 and stun the ADC and she doesn't miss any auto attacks, you're probably just going to kill them. You're going to be able to piercing shot them from forever away to finish them off if they do happen to get out.
Yeah.
So,
and there's no running away as long as they don't miss their shot, of course, right?
Her power spike's gonna be like she's gonna go like right click and then like E 3 times.
Yeah.
This is how you're gonna start. You're gonna get your E level 3 as fast as possible.
Sweet. So, is there anything
which
else?
one is their E?
Is there anything else you two would like to say?
The mark. I don't have anything to say other than thanks for having us on.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
We're going to the ending there now. And so we'll do this one last time. Hey, what a flippy flop, though. This is Stranger or Big Moose. This Faultarian Journal number 8. We had Sockap and Reverb come on to the stream there now as special guests. Thank you to them. Please go follow them on Twitch and on Twitter. We also have Gotta Get Swole, who is here as well, listening in. He's been doing a lot of back-end stuff that we've been typing back and forth. Anywho, that's beside the point. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream, and we're going to leave it with one last song. And we do this every week. Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern is when we start. And I'll see you in the next one. And what song are we going to play?
In the future, just